Take a look at this photo. What do you see? Because to me, all I see is happiness. That little girl, that's me. And the man holding her, that's my father. Who would have known that this photo would become one of my most prized possessions, and a proud moment? Although this photo shows my dad smiling, he wasn't always like this. When I was 13, I was faced with one of the most difficult challenges of my life: my father's passing. And my beloved father, who I'd cared for so much, left this world, and I was left alone to grow up without him. In the next 4 minutes, I will take you on my emotional journey of why supporting my father is a personal point of pride for me, because it allowed me to discover myself as an individual. Firstly, I will explain how the emotional hardships I experienced with my father caused me to develop a passion for care towards others and major in nursing for college. As a little girl, I witnessed my father struggle with his bipolar depression, and naturally I wanted to help him in any way I could. He was also a diabetic, which meant I was given the task to give him insulin each night. Figuring out what I wanted to do with my life at such a young age was never in the forefront of my mind. But when I got older, I realized that I gravitated towards helping people, and I wanted to care for those who were vulnerable. And I can say, as a current nursing student, I'm proud to say that I wouldn't be where I am today without having to deal with those emotional stresses that my father threw at us. I would literally be at his bedside caring for him and giving him insulin just as a nurse would. Now, my father was a great guy, don't get me wrong. He just had the wrong guidance. His parents mistreated him, and he was often forced to sleep out on the streets. Seeing how negligence in someone's past can bleed into their future was evident as I grew up. It was moments like that that inspired me to help people and lead them down the right path as a nurse. Secondly, I'm going to discuss how I'm glad I gave my father a second chance, because it reminded me that there is good in everyone, and it made me grow to be a forgiving person. Because my dad suffered from bipolar depression, me and my family had to deal with his roller coaster of emotions. Some days he would be full of joy, and other days he would have not a care in his body, not a single happy bone in his body. Despite these obstacles, I never lost sight of wanting to help him heal emotionally. I always forgave him because I learned to hold on to the good that I knew what was inside of him. Despite his roller coaster of emotions, I never stopped forgiving him and showed him mercy. I would be there for him even if he hardly attended any of my sporting events or extracurricular activities. I would still tell him I loved him, even if he yelled at us for no reason whatsoever. I never stopped forgiving him because I wanted to remember deep down he was a good father. He was a good person. And just as I thought that as things were getting better, on Father's Day in 2015, my father passed away. When I look back, knowing that I never gave up on my father when he was alive has helped me cope with his death. The good times that I have with my father outweighed the bad ones. I'm glad I was able to be there for my father, because if I wasn't, I knew that the regret would weigh me down and make me a negative person. I appreciate what I did in my past self by helping him. I never gave up on him, and I'm glad for it, because I have told myself to hold on to those positive memories I had with him, those positive memories I had rather than the negative ones. This has allowed me to cope with his death. Allow me to wrap up by saying that looking back, at a young age, I was able to support my father emotionally, which has helped me pave the way to discovering that I wanted to become a nurse and help others when they were vulnerable, which is a proud moment of mine. Nurses provide care to those who need it most. And looking back, I have realized that even as a young girl, I was able to effectively care for those who needed it the most. Knowing that I supported my father is a personal point of pride for me, because it taught me to be forgiving towards others. It made me realize that you never truly know what's going on behind closed doors. It's only fair to give second chances. When my father died in 2015, I didn't know how it was going to go on. But I did know one thing: holding on to those negative moments and those regrets would only hold you back. By holding on to the positive memories, I was able to cope with his death in a healthy way, I'm proud of that. The experience that I had with my father brought valuable life lessons and allowed my true colors to shine. I discovered my passions for others and to pursue nursing as a career, and I have been able to cope with his death in a good way. and I've become a happy person in return. Thank you.